Hello everyone, my name is Christine Iannicelli, and I am the Instructional Technology Librarian at Ursinus College. Today I will discuss how I trained and empowered student workers to lead digital fluency workshops and provide peer-to-peer support for students working on digital projects. Specifically, I will outline how the Digital Liberal Arts, or DLA Fellow program, got started. I will discuss its benefits and our future goals, as well as the responsibilities that DLA Fellows have. Next, I will discuss the pros and cons of the various training approaches that we used. And finally, we'll discuss how you can create an action plan for developing your own student worker programs to support digital fluency initiatives and innovation in the classroom. So the idea for the DLA Fellows program began in 2016 when Ursinus College established the Digital Liberal Arts, or DLA, working group. This working group, which still runs today, is comprised of faculty and library and IT staff representatives. We explore digital tools, pedagogical strategies, and scholarly approaches with the goal of disseminating information to the campus through co-curricular workshops. We also encourage innovation in the classroom through faculty idea sharing and faculty-student partnerships. In 2017, the group secured funding through the PCLA's Arthur Vining Davis Foundation Teaching and Learning Grant. This allowed us to run a pilot of 4 Digital Liberal Arts Fellows that year. The goal of the DLA Fellows program was to build the digital liberal arts culture at Ursinus by training students in digital tool integration in the classroom, who would then in turn train students and faculty. In 2018, the Dean's Office officially adopted the DLA Fellows program. They asked Dr. Kara McShane, who is co-coordinator of the DLA working group and a faculty member with expertise in digital humanities, to coordinate the program. Kara and I worked closely together to train and supervise these student workers. And in 2019, the Library and IT department officially adopted the program, so I, the instructional technologist, could oversee the program and their training. We've now integrated it seamlessly into our already robust student worker program. So what are the responsibilities of a DLA Fellow? A DLA Fellow works approximately 4 to 5 hours a week. They meet individually with faculty to discuss ways that they can integrate digital projects in the classroom. They meet one-on-one or with student groups to consult with them on their digital projects. They also provide basic training and troubleshooting on how to use a variety of technology. And finally, they lead curricular and co-curricular workshops and training sessions for classes and for the campus community. The DLA Fellows are trained in using over 15 different types of digital tools. This includes audio recording and podcasting tools like Audacity, free video recording and editing tools like Shotcut, digital storytelling tools like Scalar, and digital curation tools like Omeka. They also do some GIS and other mapping tools, as well as timeline building. And finally, they support website design, like using WordPress for websites and blogs. We've also grown in learning additional digital tools, and this is generally added dependent on emergent technology and classroom needs. So the DLA Fellows program is fairly small. We average between 2 and 4 DLA Fellows a year, but the program has been very successful. Appointments and consultations have significantly increased since its inception. And in 2020, DLA Fellows began leading their own digital fluency workshops as part of our Digital Fluency Initiative to help provide this training for our entire campus. The workshops they focused on this year included podcasting, video editing, and 3D printing. There are numerous benefits to having a DLA Fellows program. First, they've helped us advance the DLA initiative at Ursinus. We've seen an increase in the number of faculty, staff, and students who are using digital tools for educational purposes. They have also recently led our working group to propose a digital studies minor, as we have many faculty incorporating digital projects into their classes. The program has also helped us empower these student workers by giving them the tools and training needed to consult with faculty and students, lead and support class sessions, and plan and implement their own workshops. Their training has also prepared them to be successful in courses that require digital projects and in an ever-increasing digital workforce, as some of our graduates have gone on to careers in library and IT fields. Several of our DLA Fellows have also taken the initiative to investigate and pursue their own digital projects in their own time. Most recently, we had a student who taught herself how to use a 3D printer, led a workshop for our community, and is now building PPE materials such as face shields for those in need during the COVID outbreak. Our workshops are open to the campus community and allows us to provide support to all of our faculty, staff, and students, and beyond. In fact, we've had individuals from the community attend our DLA Fellows workshops. Finally, they provide immense support to me. As the sole instructional technologist, it can be difficult at times to manage the support and classroom training requests, so having the DLA Fellows as partners has been really useful. When they're not consulting with faculty or students, DLA Fellows will help me with IT administrative tasks, such as reviewing and creating training documentation, planning events, and editing, uploading, and captioning videos, to name a few. So now let's discuss the various training approaches that I used to train the DLA Fellows. Because the program has adapted and evolved over time, our training approaches have had to evolve as well. The 2017 launch began with a 2-day workshop. This was funded through our PCLA grant and allowed us to provide training for all of our faculty, staff, and students who wanted to attend. We were also able to open this up to peer liberal arts institutions, and faculty and students at other peer liberal arts institutions helped us run the workshops. Our newly hired DLA Fellows attended these workshops and then began working on their own digital projects to familiarize themselves with the software. I will say that this was seemingly the most successful training approach we used, as this initial group did not need much training after these workshops. Though to be fair, these students did have previous digital project experience through their coursework. I would like to run workshops like this in the future. However, it can be difficult to coordinate and to fund these types of trainings. Therefore, in 2018 and 2019, I went with a one-on-one continuous training approach for our DLA Fellows. During their office hours, I would meet with the fellow individually and train them on how to use a variety of technology, and then answer any questions they had. By the end of the semester, they were trained in over 15 different types of technologies and felt very comfortable with helping others. Students reported that they appreciated the level of support that I gave them, but to be fair, it did take up a significant portion of my time, and as we increased the program, it became more and more difficult to spend that much of time with the student workers on training. Therefore, this past academic year, I experimented with a blended training model. This consisted of a semester-long apprenticeship in which DLA apprentices were hired to shadow DLA Fellows and to complete an online training course during their office hours. They would then ask me individual questions as needed. So throughout the semester, they went through a variety of modules. These include the modules that they went through. These all focused on various technology training. For example, this is a module about audio recording and podcasting. It consists of training documentation, tutorials, and resources. It then encourages students to start using the technology and experimenting with it. At the end of the module, they are asked to complete a quiz that assesses their understanding of the topic. If they score 100%, they then receive a badge after completing the module. This helps me know how much they know about the content and if they're prepared to move on to the next module. After completing those first 10 modules, they then go through a DLA Fellows training module. This final module focuses on soft skills, such as learning how to use software on your own, how to train and teach others, how to present for a class or a workshop, and how to manage projects that they are assigned. Once DLA apprentices go through this online training, they can then begin consulting with faculty, staff, and students, and they transition into becoming a DLA Fellow the following semester. The apprentices reported that the course and the badging helped motivate them and reminded them of how much they were progressing. It pushed them to keep learning, and I was very surprised at how quickly they went through the online training course, much quicker than I initially anticipated. They also reported feeling like it prepared them for courses that had digital projects and also prepared them to help instruct others, even in their spare time. However, they did miss the personal touch that comes with one-on-one training, as they were completing this training course largely on their own. And because they weren't consulting with individuals along the way, some of the training that they took was forgotten by the end of the semester. Therefore, going forward, I believe I will need to do a combination of more hands-on training and online modules, and I would like to empower DLA apprentices to start consulting earlier in the process. So what are our future plans for the DLA Fellows program? Well, in 2019, the Library Circulation Desk and the Tech Support Desk merged to become an integrated library and IT services. So student workers who traditionally worked at the library, checking in and out of books and shelving, and student workers who traditionally worked at the tech support desk, answering technical questions and troubleshooting hardware issues, they were now working in tandem and were receiving cross-training on both library and IT needs. So this integration has helped us rethink our student worker program and ways that we can build on it and integrate it more. So we're considering expanding our student worker program in the next few years to include levels. So currently, our Level 1 student workers at the LIT Services Desk are supervised by Maureen Damiano, our Manager of Library Operations. These students perform the essential responsibilities of traditional circulation and tech support workers. We have opened the online DLA Fellows training course to these students and hope that they complete the trainings on their own, learning the tools that they most wish to learn. This is voluntary, but if there are students who are interested in learning more about these different tools, we would then like to open up a Level 2 position for students who can specialize in certain library and IT-related areas and who have gone through these specialized trainings. For example, if there is a student who is interested in learning more about information literacy, they could complete an information literacy module and serve as an information literacy fellow. Or if we have a student who's especially interested in digital curation, they could be offered a position to work with Andy Prock, our scholarly communications and metadata librarian, who already has student workers who digitize materials for our institutional repository. So we hope that we can recruit from the Level 1 student workers and move them into Level 2 positions. Then there are the DLA apprentices. These are the students who are interested in becoming a DLA Fellow or consulting on several but not all of the digital tools. The program could largely stay the same as it does now, with apprentices learning through the online course and one-on-one training, by shadowing DLA Fellows, and supporting our DLA efforts. Once they complete the training program, they could become the DLA Fellows, who are now empowered to lead their own trainings and consultations. Alternatively, we have considered offering an Introduction to Digital Studies course, and students who completed that course may be able to move into a DLA Fellows position much sooner, as they will receive similar training to apprentices through that introductory course. This was also leading us to submit and offer a Digital Studies minor, which the Intro to Digital Studies course would be the foundational course for this minor. The minor would lead us to evolve the DLA Fellows program to include teaching assistants. These teaching assistants could be embedded in courses as opposed to only coming in 1 or 2 times for a one-shot workshop, and I've identified a number of classes where the teaching assistants could be really useful. One of the major difficulties we experienced this past semester before the COVID outbreak was scheduling conflicts. The DLA Fellows were asked to lead or support a number of class training sessions, but they could not because they were in classes at the same time. So knowing ahead of time when minor courses would be offered and scheduling TAs at that time would help us with the scheduling conflicts that we experienced this past semester. I also would like to continue empowering students to develop and lead their own co-curricular workshops. I was very impressed with the quality of the workshops that they led this year, and I would also like to continue the DLA Apprentice program so students can continue learning as they support and maybe even get their feet wet with leading 1 or 2 workshops along the way. To conclude, I would like to provide some recommendations if you are considering implementing a student worker program similar to the DLA Fellows. I recommend you create an action plan, and in that plan, include your goal or objective for the program. So why is this particular student worker program needed, and how does it differ from the student worker programs you already have? How will this help the college or university? Is this part of a larger initiative, like a digital fluency initiative? Second, what will their responsibilities be, and how will you build on these responsibilities? For example, when a DLA Fellow first starts, they start with general consultations, and I am there for the first 1 or 2 consultations just to make sure that they don't have any questions. Over time, they start to build in their confidence and in their abilities, and so then they start leading their own workshops and their class sessions, but they don't start with that from the get-go. In the beginning, I will often have the DLA Fellows shadow me during my own training sessions or workshops so they get a sense of how they work. I'll also sometimes have them shadow me in my own consultations so that they know how to interact with faculty and students. So how will you build on those responsibilities, and what will their specific responsibilities be? Next, consider how you will train these students. Will you have a one-day or a half-day workshop? Will you train them throughout the semester? Will you have them complete an online training course? Who will supervise them and be in charge of monitoring and managing the program? What are your short and your long-term plans? In the beginning, use may be slow, and you may see fluctuations in the types of consultations they are doing and how many consultations they have. But as you market the program through faculty and student outreach, word will spread, and you may find students being asked to integrate more in the curriculum or take on additional responsibilities. Determine what the scope of your program is and your long-term goals, but also be very cautious of scope creep. If they are being asked to do things that are beyond their abilities or beyond the program, make sure that you do put limits on it. You may also want to consider phasing your program and growing slowly, but exponentially each year. And finally, is there department and institutional support, not only for the program and for the initiative, but budgetary as well? So with that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can also learn more about our DLA Fellows program and our DLA working group through go.ursinus.edu/DLA.